Shalom Aleichem and welcome to this video. The last couple of videos have been about shaving of the beard and wearing beards, I should say, and shaving of the head. And in the scriptures we've been looking at, another subject is also mentioned, which is the subject of cutting of the flesh. And that's what this video is going to be about. So Vayikra 19:28 says, "Do not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead." This is repeated in Devarim, Deuteronomy 14 verse 1, where it says, "Do not cut yourselves nor shave the front of your head for the dead." And then we've got Vayikra 21 verse 5, speaking to the priests, which says, They do not make any bald place on their heads, and they do not shave the corner of their beard, and they do not make a cutting in their flesh. So clearly this is a prohibition against cutting the flesh for the dead. Now this might seem like a strange command, for the Most High to speak about, but we know from historical references that this practice was very, very common among the nations, the heathens in ancient times, and down through the ages, as we're going to see, even to the present day, as I'm going to show you in a little while. It's still prevalent today among various religions. Unfortunately, the children of Israel themselves also took on this practice of cutting themselves, slashing themselves for the dead. If we go to Yirmiyah 41 and verse 5, we looked at this in a previous video where it speaks about how some Israelites came, and it says 80 men. This is at the time of the Babylonian attack. It says, these are among the remnant, the survivors of the first wave. It says 80 men with their beards shaved and their garments torn, having cut themselves with offerings and incense in their hand to bring them to the house of Yah. So you see, the children of Israel had taken on this practice, and they were used to making cuttings in their flesh. As a sign of lamentation, as a sign of mourning and grieving for bad things that had come upon them. Obviously, in this case, the bad thing was the calamity, the attack by the Babylonians. This is prohibited by Torah. And it wasn't just for the dead that people did this business of cutting themselves. Remember the famous case of the prophet Eliah on Mount Carmel, when he was faced with the prophets of Baal. And let's read this. I love this story. Eliah said to the people, "I alone am left, a prophet of Yah, but the prophets of Baal are 450 men. Now let them give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on the wood, but set no fire. And I prepare the other bull, and shall lay it on the wood, but set no fire. And you shall call in the name of your mighty one, and I call in the name of Yah. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he is Elohim." So all the people answered and said, "The word is good." And Eliah said to the prophets of Baal, choose one bull for yourselves, and prepare it first, for you are many, and call upon the name of your mighty one, but set no fire." So they took the bull which was given to them, and prepared it, and called on the name of Baal from the morning even until noon, saying, "O Baal, answer us." But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they leaped about the altar which they had made. And it came to be at noon that Eliah taunted them and said, "Cry aloud, for he's a mighty one. He's meditating, or he's busy, or he's on a journey, or it could be that he's asleep and has to be awakened." And they cried aloud and cut themselves according to their ruling with knives and spears, until the blood gushed out on them. So basically the story continues. We know that nothing happens, and then Eliah calls on the name of the Most High Yah. The fire comes down, consumes the offering, and then all the prophets of Baal are slain. But the point is, notice what these prophets of Baal were used to doing. These people, they were used to, and it's because it says according to their ruling, it says they cried aloud and cut themselves, and according to their ruling, in other words, according to their custom, their ways, with knives and spears until the blood gushed out on them. So this shows you that it wasn't just only for the dead that these people would flagellate themselves, would mutilate themselves and cut themselves to bring blood out, but it was also as an act of kind of like an act of prayer, seeking after their God, their Elohim. This is Shia Islam. This is probably the most famous modern day variety of this business of cutting, and basically what they do is they go around cutting themselves on a yearly basis to remember the martyrdom of someone who they believe is the great Imam. There's also certain Roman Catholics around the world who every Ishtar they go around whipping themselves and cutting themselves. All of this is totally against the scriptures. Just wanted to say finally as well that I think it's interesting that these people are so bloodthirsty. We see in the Western world they love to eat blood. They love their meat rare, they call it, which means to have the steak with the blood dripping out of it. They have a thing called black pudding, which is basically congealed blood. It's like they can't get enough of blood. And we know from the commandments that one of the things that the Most High is very keen about is to get us away from blood. We're not to eat blood. We're not to eat meat with the blood still in it. We're to cut animals, kill them properly so that all the blood drains out. And I think there's something deep and something quite profound in all of this. I think the Most High is seeking to keep us away from something that is very basic to a lot of these pagan religions, and Satan has got men all over the world just desperate to eat, drink, draw blood. And I don't know, there's something in that. I haven't yet worked it out myself. The issue of blood and life is quite a deep issue. But as far as I can see anyway from the scripture, it's quite clear to me, at least, that deliberately slashing the flesh for the dead or for worship, for prayer, for lamentation, all these things are condemned by the scriptures.